Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated.
And this is our first rodeo.
Yeehaw!
Yeehaw!
Welcome to Mic'd and Medicated. And we are picking up where we left off last week and very excited to talk about summer camp, both our experiences, because we've all been campers, as well as our children's experiences.
I think we're going to get in the vibe. I always want to be like, Camp Counselor Maureen here, attention! Can anybody whistle? Ooh, I'm so sorry for listeners. Let me try. No.
Thank you, gentlemen.
That was definitely not strong enough to scare the shit out of campers to come to line up. Flagpole! That's what they called it.
At my camp, every morning we would go to the flagpole. We'd have to do morning calisthenics. And then,
Well, that must have been in the 1950s.
and then we would walk down to the dining hall. But it was such a great ritual. And I remember by the time we got to breakfast, we had all been like chatting and we were ready for morning songs at the dining room table.
I had that at one of my 25 camps that I went to. I think we should talk about the origin of camp because I think it's interesting because I always thought camp was like a Jewish tradition and it was more of a post-World War II thing.
Actually, it's not a Jewish tradition.
I know.
That's
I want to learn
crazy.
this.
Camp originally started, I think it was a gentleman by the name of Gunn. It was called the Gunnery Camp in Connecticut. And it was started, he was a schoolmaster and he wanted to get kids out into nature for leadership and wilderness and other skills to build. And then later
Just him alone with a lot of boys in the woods. Sounds like he wanted to master some other skills.
Stripping naked.
Well, and I think other people caught on because then it started to spread across the U.S. schools, churches, youth organizations.
You mean they caught on this
Boy Scouts.
they caught on the camp tradition, you mean, not the inappropriate behavior.
Exactly. And then Sleepaway began, I think it was the late 19th century. And it particularly became popular in the Northeast because so many people were living in cities and wanted to be able to send their kids to enjoy rural life for the summer.
Right.
And it was a privilege.
We were industrializing and it was smoky and foggy.
Exactly.
Right. So you did the Christian research. That seems fitting for you. And I did the Jewish research. And so camp actually started in the late 19th century for Jewish immigrants. And it was actually to assimilate them. So it was, they learned American sports, baseball, et cetera. And often they were living in, crowded urban environments. So I thought that was fascinating because then after World War II, everybody knows what happened. Camps switched and kids had been so assimilated that they wanted to bring back a cultural identity of being Jewish. And so the sleepaway camps that were for Jews to, become American were actually now to celebrate Jewish culture. They had Shabbat, et cetera. So it was because they were so assimilated in their normal life. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Well, I will say this totally resonates with me. And actually, there is a stat that one of the leading indicators for whether you are going to be an adult with a strong sense of your Jewish identity is having gone to a sleepaway camp. And I will say that the camp experience was very profound and formative for me in that I grew up in a Reform household. We went for the high holidays. I was bat mitzvahed, but that was it. And then I went to a very religious camp and I loved it. And somehow it just got into my bones and I never lost it. And I don't know if I would have been so easily able to access and want to continue it with my kids had I not had the experience.
I mean, I hated camp, but I think, so I could see how camp could be, if you go to a more of a religious conservative camp, it could be a source of identity. I think for me, it was more my grandparents, because I hated camp. But it was nice having the challah and doing the candles as a whole camp. I think it was kind of fun. Like growing up in New York City, obviously, I always knew New York has such a Jewish culture, but my school didn't have that many Jewish people. So it was kind of a nice feeling to have that camaraderie of everybody was Jewish together.
The other thing, though, that's so, I guess, not surprising is so many comedians actually come out of Jewish sleepaway camps.
And a lot of material there.
Right. So the camp I went to, one of the campers who was older while I was there ended up making a movie, Wet Hot American Summer. And I watch it and just, it's like being at my camp with a little hyperbole. But I just think that the creativity that I experienced at my camp was really special. So while Jewish sleepaway camps may not be known for like their athleticism and top instruction, the skits, the sing, the color war, like there was so much soul and humor and song that
I don't know. Like I must have.
Yes.
I feel like maybe I was a pathetic athlete, but I actually felt like the kids at my camp were really good athletes, and that growing up in New York City, I was a complete loser and did not play, 50 sports every season. I would come home from school and like watch Friends. So like it wasn't preparing me for the soccer field, and they were all really good at sports. And I was like, what the fuck is, I just want like a rainy day, please. So I could play jacks and eat cake.
By the way, maybe you went to camp when like things were changing, because like when I went to camp,
it wasn't like a Jewish conservative camp,
Right. But when I went to camp, I was an athletic superstar.
But
like
you're
it
from
was
the suburbs.
So confidence building. And
good for you.
But I do think seeing now it through the eyes of my children, it is much more intense. Like we used to show up on the field, like we'd get our schedule, my bunk would get our schedule and we'd show up on the field for softball. And we'd be lucky if there was like one mitt and like a counselor who knew how to play softball showed up. But we'd all sit around, we'd talk, we'd make up a song. Yeah. And now when I go visit my kids, even though I by design have chosen camps that aren't the sort of fancy ones or the ones that boast having, world-class sports instruction, it's still very rigorous.
It's like tennis is an extra thing. You have to pay extra for tennis lessons at your camp.
Yeah, it's like horseback riding now.
That's nuts. Like tennis was just a thing. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just like really was
at our camp, but then we go play that other camp that was very good at tennis. So maybe that's where the extra was.
Oh, Point of Pines?
Yeah.
They were amazing at tennis. And they had this is what I would notice. See, this is why I probably was not a camper. I would notice that they had great food.
I don't have any recollection of the food. But I will say that I wish for everyone to have the experience. And maybe it's just because I have such fond memories of camp. But it's the first time you leave home. You have to negotiate with other people and figure out how to, share not saying people at home don't share bathrooms, but if your kids don't, you have to figure out how to share bathrooms and eat whatever's, being served.
You have to fold your clothes and put them away and put your dirty clothes, take them off the floor and,
and you get to like,
sweep. I feel like I always brought like the bunk down and like being a slop.
Oh,
like, you'd have that one person who was like, Caroline, seriously, could you fucking picked up your clothes?
My heart goes out for those
cleaners.
girls.
Were you like camp color captain, Eva?
I was camper captain and counselor captain. I was lower camper captain, upper camper captain, and I was counselor captain. And then I went back. Oh, that was when I went back as counselor captain.
I wonder if that's related.
A really proud camper.
Related to like the proud breastfeeders. I know that sounds really weird, but I feel like it's very correlated. I feel like if you're a camp counselor, head of color war, sing, you're like a breastfeed champion. But it's also actually nice. Technology wasn't really a thing when we were in camp. We had Walkmans and then we had Discmans, which were like just becoming a thing. But for kids today, like to get away from phones and iPads and like write letters. Like, do kids even write letters anymore? Like I used to write essays to my parents that were like, I'm so miserable with like teardrops, like stained. and I would get really short ones back. Like my dad would be like, if it were up to me, I would let you come home. Mom says no. P.S. Brush your teeth. That would literally be my letter. Okay. So I also have to read this. I feel like I'm in the Andy Cohen, like Bravo, where they have the, what's the episode where they all talk to each other after it's happened?
The reunion.
I have 2 incredible letters that Jeremy, my husband, had sent to his mother, which I have to say for a boy, they're very sweet.
And sweet that his mother saved them all these years.
And then gave them to me. Yeah, that's like, why didn't she save them?
Because she didn't need them anymore. There was
I would save mine.
New main woman.
Okay.
Right, new main
I guess
woman.
This was like a warning to me. Like after you hear these, make sure you have sensitive detergent. Okay. So this is what he wrote. I'm trying to see which one is the first one. Okay. Dear Mom, thank you for all the letters. It is nice to know what is going on in the house. I hope you got my first letter. If you didn't, I just wanted to say, I love you. And if you could please send me my lacrosse helmet. I also, ready for it, have a really, really bad heat rash on my stomach, arms, legs, and back. So if you could send a large green gold bond powder container, thanks. So then, this is probably like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old. We got a follow-up. Dear Mom, thank you very much for the letters and my helmet. It has been a great help. My rash from the heat. Like, of course the helmet was like help, you know, and like
great help.
Fucking get smacked in the head.
What does he need a helmet for?
For lacrosse. My rash from the heat has really gone down. I have been using hydrocortisone. I just got back from the camping trip to our Acadia. It was fun. I'm having a good time, but I can't wait to get back home. This is my favorite part.
Very sound.
It is raining right now, and I am soaking wet. I will speak to you later. Thanks again for the helmet. Bye, Mom. Love you.
So I hate to burst your bubble, but when I hear lacrosse helmet and I hear Acadia, he was in senior camp when he was writing those. He wasn't 9.
Oh, yeah, it is nice handwriting. So, but the gold bond stuff was used for heat rash, right? It wasn't like something.
Well, I remember when we were at camp, Gold Bond was a thing with the boys, but I think it was
what do you mean?
Oh,
this
no, masturbation
this is
thing.
all an elaborate story. Don't you his mom to get green bonds?
No, but it says powder container.
Okay. He sounds like he's too.
He would have a really, really bad rash.
Wait,
he was using
how did you know
powder?
Oh my God. Wait, you should have dated this. It is really amazing.
Was he an upper, inner, senior or something?
Yeah.
Or was he a lower junior or something?
I don't know, but it's really fucking funny. And the fact that my mother-in-law saved it, which I'm obsessed with.
It's very sweet.
Well, my parents, what were they going to save my letters for? They're like, I hate it here. I'm miserable. Pick me up. I mean, there's no reason to save that. Or they could have been like, look what it was dealing with you. Look how tough you were.
Having been through this many times, I will say it's sort of a thing. Like you put your kid on the bus and then everyone, like you might be playing tennis, you might be at Tracy, whatever you're doing, people start to ask questions like, have you gotten a letter yet? Mm-hmm. And so everyone's kind of waiting. You got to remember, none of us are ever dealing with snail mail in our lives. It's the first time in a long time that you don't have instant communication.
Yeah.
So you wait for that letter and it could take 12 days from Maine.
Oh, yeah.
And now they have, to your point about do we still write letters? Yes, I really believe in the good old fashioned writing. And I think it's nice to get a physical letter, but they now offer through this companion app, which I think all camps use, the ability to email. So I know like for my husband, Doug, it's very easy and he likes to send emails because that's his preferred mode of communication. And so they print them out the next day and give them. I happen to think it's different than getting a letter. But when I stamp that letter, bring it to the post office, like, first of all, I feel great satisfaction because I feel like it's hard to get the stamp and actually walk to the post office. It is not easy.
Yeah. What are you talking about? If you're like in Bedford?
Well, anywhere. I just feel like I'm not
my doorman.
My muscle
Sometimes
memory.
I'm out of stamps.
I'm not used to that mode of communication.
I actually write thank you notes and stuff.
But I try to write all the time. But I do think the world is changing so much. And thank God our kids like have this 8-week period where they have to learn how to write a letter because otherwise I'm not sure.
Yeah.
What do you do though? Like, so my son, he does not want to go to sleepaway camp. So he's going into 3rd grade. This is the first year that a lot of kids are going camp. And obviously I hated it. My husband was not the biggest fan. Right. So, I don't feel so much pressure. Like he already is giving me a hard time for day camp. I literally have to quote Dan Senior. Dan Senior, because when Teddy's like, I don't want to go to day camp. I just hate it. And I'm like, Jewish optimism. Could it be any worse? Of course it can. Teddy, you could be at sleepaway camp.
Here's the problem. When your kid has been to Capri in linen.
He's never been to Capri. That's the joke. I can't take him there because he would love it and then he would never go to sleepaway camp.
But I feel
he's never been there.
I feel like it's most challenging for kids who I think haven't had to rough it because it is an experience where it's uncomfortable. Why can't it just be because he loves his mommy? It can be. I'm not saying that. And by the way, it's okay. Like there's so many other options. There's so many types of camp. If your kid doesn't like sleepaway, I like your parents. I have friends who kept trying different camps, hoping something would click. And I do agree with you at a certain point. It's the child, not the camp. But I don't feel like you have to. Yeah. Like I don't think you have to push it. I don't
know. I kind of feel like it's a rite of passage.
So do the summer or two, like make him try it.
Or like a
really
3-weeker.
But I worry that if he finds day camp unpleasant.
And this is like a really nice day camp.
Sleepaway could be, like the Hamptons day camp is unpleasant. He's not going to like Sleepaway.
I know. He's like, can't school be like the whole summer? And I'm like,
well, he might be more geared towards. So like some kids love camp because it's a break. It's like silly and playful and, there's nothing academic.
Yeah, he loves academics.
Kids like academics. So for Teddy, he might be happier going to a camp where it's a music camp where he plays the piano, or it's a camp where he's learning how to code. So I think you've got to listen
like
to
less of the cheering and the color.
I don't know. Part of me feels like
to your kid.
I know, but I also feel, because I don't believe in all this coddling, like gentle parenting stuff. If it's a safe environment, I think you can push discomfort. Like my son has said so many times, I don't like this day camp. It is a traditional, it's like a sleepaway camp, but a day camp. He's got to do all the sports.
Right.
There's loud cheering. I'm like, you know what? Get over it. Deal with it. Learn how to be okay. So there is that part of me that feels like you got to kind of take it and do it. That's what my parents were like, stick it out.
But there is some irony in like, you've got to do this. You've got to go to the $20,000 camp where they're probably serving salmon for lunch.
You should just work.
And you're golfing. You've got to do it.
So there's like, maybe I should get a job.
It's not like you're sending him on Outward Bound where he has to spend 30 days in the country
You're right.
like,
I'm
making
terrible.
fires. But
not terrible. It's just like,
maybe you should get a job.
I don't disagree with you.
To do. So that's,
I don't disagree with you. I'll admit it. I take some pride in the fact that my kids love camp. They just like roll with it. They don't mind if they're showering communally. They don't mind if they're sharing a toothbrush with 8 other kids.
Ew.
They don't mind. Like my kids can rough it. They can be in any environment and they're just
Marriott kids. I have a Four Seasons kid.
But by the way, I love that. And that's what I was going to tell you.
I know.
You have a Four Seasons kid.
Shit. I mean,
But here's the thing. I do think there's
I don't
a
want him
range
sharing toothbrushes. That's disgusting.
Oh my God. I would rather share a toothbrush than have my kid come home and be like, I think I brushed my teeth eight times this summer. And then they come home and you're like,
they're so dirty, right?
Who's this? Like everything gets mixed together. And so you have half the stuff you sent them with and you've got a new set of clothing and equipment that you did not buy.
I would take the bus and it would get off at the Metropolitan Museum. I'll never forget the feeling of like, oh my God, I'm back. And all the kids are crying and I'm like, yes, it was the word. Totally. Like I had a countdown to get home, but my mom literally took me home, threw me in the shower and took me to the nail place, like a manicure, pedicure. Like it was so
the
dirty.
J sisters.
So funny.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So I cried the night before. We didn't go to sleep the last night. I cried the night before and we were all linking arms singing, Kumbaya, on a jet. But like we cried so hard. I mean, it's literally my memory the last night is that you are so like wrung out from being
maybe you didn't like being at home
and sad and crying and hugging because nobody wanted to leave camp. And I guess just going back to Teddy for 1 minute, I might approach it with curiosity. So rather than be like, you've got to stick it out and do it, which by the way, I respect that and love that about you. But I might say, like, bitch. What about it don't you like? Like maybe get into it because
He's
I also
like the whole
think
thing. He doesn't want to not be with me. He doesn't want to do sports all day, but he really wants to be with his parents.
But here's the thing. Maybe you should say we have to go to camp, but maybe you don't have to pick a camp that's sports all day and actually pick a camp with some of the activities.
Still like doesn't replace the fact that I'm not there.
He's an old soul.
Right.
He's me. He's like 100%. I mean, my dad's like, Teddy, you stay with me in the Hamptons and I'll take you golfing every day. That'll be camp. I'm like, Dad, that's not going to be good for him as a person. I mean, it'll be great that he spent time with you, but
I just pitched that exact camp. I said, hey, Doug, I have to go out and work in the Hamptons for a week. Do you want to come? You can play golf every day with Caroline's dad. It's like camp.
Okay, maybe we'll start a camp. Camp La. It's because his name is Larry, but he calls himself La. Camp La. Camp La. Golf with La.
Oh, is that why you're Car? Is everybody in your family one syllable?
Cat. Jane is hard. Just Jane.
And Phil. Oh, you guys are all one syllable.
Phil. Yeah. Or he has nicknames. Could you guess my family nickname? I don't know. Mine is Whiner.
Like
my brother's
WH?
Like a wine. Like not drinking. Like the Whiner. My little brother is Monster. And then my older brother is Gator. I don't know why his name's Greg. Or Beef because he's really big.
That's so fun. We call Georgie Porgy Poodle Pants.
I'm sure he loves this. He's a freshman in college.
We call Sandy Sandman, the Sandman. And when Eleanor was a baby, we called her Peanut, but we can't call her that anymore.
Peanut. Yeah, that's cute.
And now, what do we call Eleanor? I think we just call her Eleanor. I think we're so in love with the name that we just say Eleanor.
I just realized like Eleanor and I have Theodore Roosevelt's.
Yeah. Yeah.
But better looking. I mean, Eleanor was.
Oh my God. Eleanor and Teddy are at lunch right now. Woohoo.
Oh my God. Loving it. He's smart. He's like, I'll just hang out with
those Haven girls like younger men.
That's true. You look at you, Cougar.
Oh my God.
Anyway, we could talk forever about how like I hated camp and my son doesn't want to go to camp.
And they're going to be on the show.
Yes. Which my husband will probably be like, no. I'm like, really? I told everybody you have IBS. You probably used Gold Bond powder to masturbate at camp, which you asked your mom for, but you can't let my son come on the podcast. So anyway, talking about all this stuff, what we really didn't talk about, because this is Gelman's first summer sending her daughter away, is like, there is something her mom, Denise, who I love so much, is from Long Island. And when you have a mom who grew up on Long Island, you are like prepped to be the most prepared for camp. You have every accoutrement. I don't know what it is. They just know. So can you tell us, how did you pick the camp for Ellie? How far in advance? Like, is it like finding a school? Is it 2 years, 1 year? Like, what's in her duffel? I only had like camp catalog shit, which is why I was a big fat loser.
And I would just say, given I have a daughter who's still going to Sleepaway camp, I've done this 18 times, but I have a feeling I'm going to learn a lot from you, because
I have a feeling it's different.
I'm the opposite of you.
I'm more prepared than you are.
Didn't someone shame you once for like not having the right stuff?
Yes. I was saying how I had to get on it. I mean, this person had expected me to already order everything and be packing, and I hadn't even filled out health forms. So I was like, oh my God. And then she said something about a caboodle. I'm like, what's a caboodle? And then I really got shamed. And this past summer, Eleanor was asking for a husband pillow. And I was like, no way are we going to bring that to camp. Like, it takes up half your bed here, and I'm not going to lug that. You only have one duffel. You can live without that for 8 weeks. And then I got to the bunk on visiting day, and she was the only one without a husband.
Better at 12 than at 30. All right, Gelman.
All right, so teach us.
Sorry,
do you have a caboodle and a husband?
I have a caboodle and a husband waiting to get packed. So yeah, I am more prepared than you.
And I have not started my forms, which, by the way, I went into Campanion. I just want to say, for all those moms out there, can we commiserate over the form situation? Because
very stressful.
There are
even day camp has 100 forms.
It's insane. There are 16 Eleanor forms. There are 5 family forms.
Yep.
And I know when I get in there, at least half of them require someone other than me. Like, I'm going to have to send them to the pediatrician. And I've always wanted to start a business. There should be one universal form. So no matter what camp or school you're going to, there's one health form.
There is, actually. It's just the health form.
But they all put it in a different format. It's
really
annoying.
Yeah.
Yes. So I didn't realize this until we started looking last summer. But basically, we were almost late. Because you got to
And Ellie is how old? She just turned 8. So you're talking about...
Turned 8. She's going into 3rd grade.
So this was last summer, her going into 2nd.
Yeah.
Okay.
And thankfully, we were chatting about it with other friends and other parents of friends, but you got to start booking a camp consultant to give you like, I mean, you don't have to, and we actually didn't at first, but it's very helpful. I soon realized, because you got to first book a tour. Back in the day,
the director would
come, they'd bring the video, you'd watch it and you'd sign the check, right?
Yeah. The kids were always having a great time.
Yeah. But now it's a whole thing where you go and you book all this time to like tour camps in person. You can even do something called a rookie day where you stay all day at the camp.
I did a rookie 2 days at a camp that I actually love. It's Kenwood. I think they've now only a 4-week camp. But they used to do where you went for 2 days and it was not camp. It was like you went to a carnival, you had Coke and pizza, Coke the drink, and pizza and ice cream. And I was like, this is awesome. So I signed up for it, and then I didn't realize camp. Then my mom's like, great, you're going to go to camp. It was 8 weeks and there was no Coca-Cola or pizza or carnivals. So it could also backfire. But anyway, there you go. Oh, Debbie Downer over here.
Yeah.
But like, what about the stuff? Because again, my mom, I love you, Mom. You're so cool and all the cool stuff, not for camp catalog shit. So like, I didn't have the stuff that said your camp on your butt with the rhinestones. Like, what do you do? Like, what do you get? Like, what's the thing now?
Yeah. Yeah. So back in the day, because I also grew up in New York City, I would go to a store and that would be your one-stop shop. It was called Morris Brothers. It was on the Upper West Side. So that's no longer, but now there's all these different stores, like a Lester's and stores like that do the whole thing for you. So you set up an appointment
Oh my God.
You have to do it in the middle of like January. It's like February, March is when you really have to do it.
I've never been to a Lester's and my daughter did not know what a Lester's was. Probably still doesn't.
Why am I the least shocked person ever?
Because again, I was shamed for that. And you got to shop with your daughter and get all the things ready to get personalized. But it's a wild experience.
But what I don't get is like, because I was shamed for not doing this too, but like, you're putting yourself in that situation. Like I just wanted to avoid being in that situation. So if my daughter didn't, it's like ignorance is bliss.
But I think she did. Wasn't she upset that you didn't have all the right stuff?
You didn't have the husband.
I was just going to say that.
She was single and everyone else was married.
I was going to say that. She was single without a caboodle.
Yep. So funny about the caboodle. So I'm saying, like, you got to do
what
this.
What do they put in the caboodle? Sunscreen? Like, what the fuck? They can't have makeup?
Idea. I actually,
we last summer had one. I think it's for stationery pens.
Oh my God.
There's a stationery opening thing too.
No, I always forget the stationery too.
I had the word. My
Eleanor borrows. I'm always like, whose stationery am I going to see next?
Well, we used to trade.
You got like Margaret's.
Yeah.
Oh, it's personalized. I don't think she ever borrows from someone.
No, it's
consult. You go to the camp appointment and pick out your stationery, and then they write Ellie all over it.
Maybe you should get some like Eleanor Roosevelt.
Okay. Well, all I know is, oh my God, I've had boys and it like hasn't really mattered, but I'm thinking about, I've got a bat mitzvah and a wedding in my future. I'm going to need both your help.
You for sure need my help.
Otherwise I'm going to really shit the bed here.
My mom and my grandma used to work at the Metropolitan Museum, but my mom, I think I mentioned this in the last episode, would give me stationery from the Met. It was like, anybody want to trade this Madame X by John Sargent? Portrait.
I was like, ew. That would be the coolest.
Yeah, okay, but not if you're fucking 9. Okay, you want a bedazzled, the circle stationery that says like cool,
Swifty, and all that.
Who the fuck wants a Metropolitan portrait? She got better. The next year she got me. They had a shoe exhibit, like the costume exhibition, and I had shoes. But they were like 1940s depressing shoes, and then 70s platforms. It was not my best time. It was okay. I'm much cooler and calmer now. I'm making up for it.
We used to send Eleanor with a lot of photos. Have you done that? We a lot of photos of our family.
We got the photo album that says Ellie in pink and tie-dye, but we haven't put the photos in it yet. God. Don't worry.
What was the markup on that album? Hold on, wait. How much did that photo album cost? That's got to be the highest markup.
I don't want to even know.
Wait, I want to know of all the things you went and bought, because this is blowing my mind. What was the thing that you were most surprised they offered?
Yeah, that was popular. That's a good one.
How about the French fry pillow that you sign?
Wait, I'm sorry.
We use the husband pillow. There's the signing pillow that's shaped like French fries.
Wait, is it like McDonald's paper wrapped French fries, or like,
it looks like it's a stuffy that's shaped like French fries, where it's like in a French fry carton, and each fry you can sign.
Okay, so somebody is really high saying, how much are these stupid rich camp moms willing to pay for anything? Let's make a stuffed French fry and call it a signing French fry and see if people will buy it.
I've ever heard. That's the first thing you're going to throw away when she comes home. So now, in addition to all this shit, visiting day.
Wait, let me just say one more. I have a funny story really quickly about the caboodle. So I'm saying to you, like, you got to do this, you got to do this. And yes,
Gloria's telling you to get the caboodle.
You got to do it. But it's very helpful because it's your one-stop shop to get it all. You're going to spend a ton of money. You're going to feel really bad about yourself after, especially after the episode we just did where I'm like, I want to keep my kids humble.
Right. Your husband probably called right. What's this bill? Is it fraud?
No, he was not thrilled. He was not thrilled.
Didn't we pay for camp?
Even when they said it at the end, my daughter was like, oh my God, we spent that much. I'm like, we spent that much. But so we get the caboodle.
At least she knew it was a lot.
I know. We get the caboodle at the appointment. It's going to be great. It's going to be all the pink she wants. I'm talking to my friend last week who lives in Tribeca, and we were talking about all this because she's sending her daughter as well. And she's like, you got the caboodle there? No, you get that on Amazon and then you do it as a craft project together. I was like, oh.
Well, I will say.
That sounds terrible. I would just buy it done.
That was so smart. Like doing a craft.
Oh, Courtney, you're never going to do that.
I don't know. I was very impressed.
I'm not sure you're going to do this, but I will say I caught on very quickly after the first summer. So they send this camp catalog and they show you that you need a backpack because your kid's going to take an overnight that summer. And the backpack is, I don't know, call it $85. And then you Google the name of the backpack into Amazon, and that said backpack is now $55.
But does it say the camp logo if you buy it on the catalog?
No, it's literally, there are things in the catalog that are the
ridiculous.
same. We used to, with the boys camp, which was in Maine, we would stay in Augusta in the town over at this little, I don't know, it must have been like a Best Western. It's like one of those $89 a night hotels, but on visiting day
Was
weekend.
it like $700?
No, it's like $400 on visiting day weekend, but it's really a motel. Like like Caroline, you couldn't stay there.
I appreciate it. I wouldn't.
But
I'd probably stay wherever Courtney booked.
We finally got hip to, everyone always said like, go to Portland. I was always like, why would we drive an hour? And then we got hip to going to Portland I think it was last year or the year before. And it's a whole thing. You've got to book the one restaurant in Portland that everyone goes to.
Did you book your Scales thing? Isn't it today?
I told you about Scales. So I left
Sorry,
a message.
don't let this air until Eva and Courtney get their reservations at Scale.
right. Scales.
Sorry.
And so you can book 60 days out. And if you call them on 59 or 58 days out, it is completely booked up because every New Yorker is in Portland that night and eating at that restaurant. We don't stay.
The Hamptons are amazing that weekend, by the way.
It's empty.
So funny.
We don't stay at the hotel, but there's one hotel that I guess just meets everyone's standards. So that is the hotel that weekend.
I'm the fool that books that.
See, you're already ahead of me.
No, I would do that.
But then that
I'll stay at
morning,
the Best
they'll
Western.
say like visiting day starts at 9:15, but you can start arriving at 8:45. So Doug and I are always like,
Oh, they 7:30 they show up.
Oh my God,
so
I'm
literally
so glad you told me this because I was going to show up at 9:30.
well, no,
You gotta line up. I even know that.
I actually think
Oh
though,
my God.
I think Doug and I figured it out. You don't go early, you go last. And that way your car is the easiest to get out at the end.
What if you Uber?
Oh.
You should Uber.
It's like an hour away.
I don't think you can Uber in Augusta, Maine.
No, because then you avoid
or
parking. Get a chauffeur.
Naples, Maine.
Get a
No.
chauffeur.
It's even better because there's this huge lawn parking lot and they have people directing you. But this earlier you're in, the more you're
Waiting
blocked
to get out
in.
later. Yeah.
And then there's this holding pen where everyone kind of waits before they let you go. I think the whole idea is
They do with campers too. The campers are also in the holding pen.
I think the whole idea is
Remember
you
that?
don't,
Stampede.
you don't want
Yeah.
a kid
It
left
was
out.
crazy. Our camp that we went to, so you had to stay on the steps until you saw your parent.
Yes.
It would be like
And there was like a law. It was like a
the big
hill.
soccer field hill. Yeah.
Yeah.
On Main Camp, Main
Yes.
Village.
Yes.
And like all of a sudden you'd see like 700 happy women with 800 bags and Krispy Kreme bags and this running and they're sweating and they're running and the dads are carrying and I've got the video cameras and it's just like, it was so, I just see it now. Can you see it? I feel like my mom slipped one year. It was like a baseball field and my brother's running and it's like fucking insane. It's literally, it's like taking all the psycho
like
people
that.
and putting them in I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, on your mark, it's like, go.
Except
it really makes you realize we're all animals.
No, you're right. That is amazing way of saying it. It is such an animalistic moment. It's like the mom's coming for their
mama bear.
yeah, protecting from prey, and they're like, I'm getting to mine first. Like it's exactly what it's like. It's an animalistic. It's like you need that safari song. Like what's the Lion King song when they're running? It's like.
Hum bum bum.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Hum bum bum. Hum bum bum. Oh my God, I'm dying. Hum bum bum. Hum bum. That is literally. But the camcorder's like shaking. Oh my God. My dad's holding on. My bags. Oh my God. And then my parents, this is funny too. So I love them. They're so funny. But my dad would always like tease me how much I hated camps. It would torture me. So he'd be like, 8 more hours, 5 more hours, 4 more hours. It was so mean. Oh, Jane, where are we going to dinner tonight? Sedimezzo? It was so mean. And then they would bring me Sedimezzo food from like 2 days before. It was so good, even though it was disgusting. God. My dad's like, yeah, where should we go? Oh, yeah, that's good. I love that food. What are you eating tonight, Kat? So mean. 20 minutes. I would go in the car, seatbelt in. That's what I did.
No, they don't let you.
I did it then.
The parking lot.
I was fucking close. I was also animalistic. I was like, Mom, like Simba.
Okay, so I had that. Oh my God. So the boys never cared. We would leave and
I keep seeing lions with camcorders and Krispy Kremes.
Like at my son's camp, we would leave and the boys were totally relaxed, but we'd see the kids and like it was heartbreaking. Like they'd be holding on to their parents' limbs while their parents are trying to walk down
Simba,
the road to
like,
leave.
But then my dad would like take me from the back, like throw me off. Like
my daughter loves
sweating.
camp, but I have to say last summer she was a little nervous to go. And then when we arrived, And it is, as a parent, there's nothing more heartbreaking. Like she was clinging where like we couldn't.
Clearly it's not that heartbreaking because they let me stay.
No, but I know. So I'll be honest, I can be your parents right now. So we would literally like, I'd have tears in my eyes. The counselors were like, we've got to go. Like there'd be like 3 counselors trying to extract Eleanor from me. Like her claws were in me. She wouldn't like
that was the good news about me being chubby. They had a hard time getting me unclawed.
I will say at an all girls camp, there's also something performative about it. Like, Mom, don't leave. Yeah. But then the minute the mom walks away, they're happy. But with Eleanor, it was so awful. And like, I wanted to cry. And then finally the counselors like extract her. We start walking up the hill. God, I hope she doesn't listen to this episode. And then we're just like, let's get on the road back to our empty nesting life.
Oh my God. See, that's, I think, honestly, deep down, it's not for Teddy's Jewish identity. I do Shabbat on Fridays. It's to be an empty nester.
It is.
Summer.
Let me tell you, you send your first kid and like, yeah, it is nerve wracking. Like you said, you're sending them away. There's all of these unknowns. Are they going to be happy? Are they going to be safe? Like everything. But obviously you've
fucking awesome time.
Obviously if you're, Gelman, you've planned this for 2 years. You know, you're sending her to a good place. You know, she's going to have everything she needs, but it is hard. So you're like a little weepy, but then you realize it's this gift because you have your other kids and the dynamics change and room opens up for them to be, the center of your world. And it's just quieter in a good way. But then when you send that third kid, if you're lucky enough, or that second kid, if you're lucky enough that the first one is still away, you have not, since you had your first baby, experienced completely being like unencumbered, where you can do anything.
Right, it's different than like going away with your husband because you're still like tethered.
You're in a empty house.
Whoa. Oh yeah, it's the best. And like you wake up and you don't have to like check in with anyone. You don't have to like agree with your husband who's doing what. Right. You're just free.
Whoa,
it's the best feeling.
We're gonna tell Teddy Camps amazeballs. No, but you know what? I will say one advice: if you do have a kid who's like emotional wreck like I was and unstable, my parents hid that they were upset, like that they were sad. They were really strong and tough, and like that is what you have to be. Yes. My mom never showed like tears. She's like, you're gonna have a great time, and then would like break down kind of. By the way, that's like the way to do it. And Denise, Courtney's mom, would come on the bus to like comfort me because my mom clearly like could only hold it together for so long.
But I think that is really good parenting because I am a firm believer that your child senses your energy and they feed off your energy. So if you are anxious about, are they popular? If you are anxious about like, are they performing well in school or are they going to have a good time at camp? Or if you're sad to see your child get on the school bus and go away to camp for the summer, then you're burdening them with that. And you're also like, they get their cues from you if they're okay. So if you're not okay, then why the hell should they feel okay?
I just remember that morning before camp, I'd literally follow my mom like my dog follows me, like Velcro. Like I was literally like wouldn't leave her side. It's really fucked up.
Well, I will say, so my husband didn't love camp.
Camp really is hard when you're a city kid. You're like, fucking bugs are everywhere. I hated it. I remember it was annoying. It was like a really happy, like everybody's happy. And I'm like, fucking, I was like Wednesday Addams. That's what I was. When she goes to camp, have you seen that? In the Addams Family, I was so like,
funny. It was like everyone's a winner at this camp. That was like the
I that's what I am. I'm the Wednesday Addams of camp. I'm like, let's burn the place down. I like in my mind, I used to want to get kicked out to go home, but I'm such a goody two shoes. No, I was like, fuck all these happy, fit tennis kids from Short Hills. I just want to go home to my air conditioning apartment in New York City.
Once again, I think Teddy is you.
Yeah, I know. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I can't think of any camp songs except Forever Young.
I want to be forever
Or like, what, not a Kumbaya, but what was that song Elton John sang for Diana? I think that was like always the last thing.
Candle in the Wind.
Oh, yeah. Candle in the Wind.
Is that something? Can we sing that? No?
I don't know.
What's like a goodbye song that everybody would sing the last night and cry?
Leaving on a jet plane.
No, it was something else, which they probably now do leave on a jet plane.
I don't want to close my eyes.
No. It was a good, like, I don't know. I remember.
I will.
Yes. Yes. That is it. Okay. We would always sing that. I will. It was like, no one's dying here. It was really fucking weird. Do you remember the numbers would burn?
Yes.
And it'd be like, I will remember you. this is like a KKK rally? This is fucking weird. No, like it was really weird.
Like 1999 and they'd light it on fire.
It's fucking weird. And then you'd send like candles.
Burn.
Right? You'd send candles in the thing. I'm like, pretty sure tomorrow is also 1999.
Oh, goodbye, echo.
We'll hold you.
Okay, I just had one thought. This could be a closing thought. It's really sadistic because it's almost like they're trying to figure out like how to make you cry the last night of camp. And then
weird.
And then halfway through the year, don't you remember there's the camp reunion and you go and sit and they play a montage with music
in the Westchester Mall.
Well, I never had a place that I could call my very own, but that's all right, my friend, because you're my home. And then all they want to do, it's like the crescendo is how much can we make all of these campers cry?
I was always like,
I think that like camp is home.
Yeah, fuck that.
I felt that way.
What is it like? We live 300 something days we live 10 months for 2 or some bullshit. I was like, I survived 2 months for 10.
I'm going to end on the note that camp was such a formative experience for me and I loved it.
I agree.
For everyone out there who has young kids, who's not sure whether to go to camp, I am a huge believer in the value of camp in sending your kids, and hopefully you won't have a kid like Caroline. Okay, so I think we're going to wrap this up like a burrito.
We're going to wrap it up like a sleeping bag on a camping trip.
Mic drop.
Mic drop.
Thanks for listening to Mic'd and Medicated. We hope you loved listening to us.
But even if you didn't, we have zero shame. So still subscribe to our podcast, leave a comment, and a 5-star review.
And follow us on Instagram and slide into our DMs because they are wide open.
This show was created in New York City and hosted and produced by
Eva Heyman
and Caroline Leventhal. And mic drop.